everyone, to Story Lords. I was gonna say...
Oh, take it off! Ow!
The podcast...
Show me some side nut!
Nice. Some tasteful side nut.
Yeah.
Not that
I want it to be as
undernut.
untasteful as humanly possible.
So does tasteful side nut have hair or not? That's
I'd
the
imagine
question.
no hair.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah. A dirty undernut is that horrible pornography shot you get that no one likes.
Yeah, the underball. Yeah, nobody wants that.
It's just butthole and ball.
Yeah.
Is all
that
you're really
for?
seeing.
Who the fuck is that
So
for?
people
you
who
know?
want to have sex with dogs, because that's what you see from a dog.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. I've
Quite a
seen
leap
it.
to make.
If you like that angle, you might as well just shag a
In the
dog.
bestiality.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't think of the way.
I like an angle where you can see the hand holding.
It makes me feel not so alone.
I pretend it's me.
I hold the remote.
I pretend I'm in the cuck chair.
Anyway, welcome to Story Lords, the podcast, the fiction podcast, with 2 prompts, 3 stories, and infinite laughter. I'm one of your hosts, Rich Masters, and with me, as always, is... I'm not going to go first this week. Josh Henderson.
Fuck! Yeah, it was me. It was my turn.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
I don't want you to say the wrong title here and we get sued by Drake if you do that. So
Drake. I got demoted to third guy. Fuck.
And third guy, Jeff Pennington.
Yeah. Better than fourth guy, I guess.
yeah. You mean Kevin?
I think Greg is fourth guy.
Yeah,
Kevin
yeah,
is
Kevin's
fifth
guy.
Although apparently we did fire Kevin. That did happen.
Did we?
Yeah. I like how he was like, wait, we're supposed to record today? Funny.
It was the superb owl at the weekend.
I think we can say that. I think
No, I don't think we're allowed.
Birds!
Unless we leave a very distinct pause between the 2 words.
The Super Bowl.
There you go.
of cherries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go Birds.
Yeah, I got wasted, ass drunk on tequila. I drank tequila the whole game.
Josh was so drunk that he like messaged us on Monday saying, "I'm good to record the show. I just need a nap first." And I'm
he
like,
spelled
"Yo, that's
birds
fine.
wrong.
We record on Tuesdays."
Yeah, I didn't know what day it was. It was the greatest game that's ever happened.
Yeah, it was great.
It was great. I thought they were gonna win, but I didn't know that it was gonna be like a complete molestation, like it was.
There was a shot. My favorite thing that came out of the Super Bowl is there was a shot of the Chiefs on their bench looking like horrifically dejected.
Yeah,
and they were in the exact same poses as a classical painting called The Pit of Despair. So people kept posting them together.
I saw the meme with the Fibonacci circle.
Oh, that's great.
Mahomes was getting his face smashed in that one play, and they put the circle on there.
That's hilarious.
I watched the first quarter and the Chiefs didn't even get a first down, and I was like, okay, I think I can go to bed now.
Yeah, I was still nervous at halftime though, because as an Eagles fan, you're just trained to be.
You were nervous for your home
Terrified.
being destroyed by
they were-
rioters, right?
Oh no, I'm fine. I had
They're
green
so
lights.
far
It's-
away.
It's like putting lamb's blood above your door. You're fine if you put the green lights up.
That's a very religious reference.
It's just Passover reference.
Yeah,
Boy, they did a lot of pass-overing the other team's heads. Am I right, everybody?
He's in. We got him.
Sports.
Sports, football.
This week, our prompts were handcuffs and transformations.
Fuck! I didn't use either of them.
That's fine.
Well, you've got 2 stories to somehow figure out a way to.
I'm
weave
actually
them in.
second, so
He's
I don't
got
have.
Oh,
that
you've
much
got 1 story.
I had 2
Rich wrote a
stories, I'd
14-page
shoehorn it in
story,
real
which
quick.
he might have.
What did you think they were?
I knew what they
of
were. I just
disasters.
forgot to put them.
Okay, right. Well, I'm going first this week, so you've got a little while.
I'm not doing shit.
We're heading over to the Omniverse now. My episode is called The Golden Handcuff Experiment.
We've all tried that in college, right?
Am I right, fellow sexual deviants?
Part 1, The Abstract. Li Wen stood before the Board of Trustees and stared defiantly, the smell of ozone clinging to him like all the cheap floozies that wanted him for his grant money, when he had many other fine qualities, like a stereotypical overbearing set of Asian parents, or his vintage collection of WWE action figures.
This guy
Yes,
rolls.
please.
It's a 10 out of 10 catch, ladies.
Oing, oing, oing.
Dr. Wen, when this board offered you funding for your, quite frankly, outlandish experiments, we did so as more of a publicity stunt. The chair, Dr. Janet Ferguson, said. I mean, she was a quote-unquote doctor, a dermatologist by trade, which was ironic as she looked like an angry pimple on this ass of a board.
Damn.
Fucking take that shit, Ferguson, you bitch.
That dermatologist. You ain't waiting 6 months for an appointment for that insult.
The whole world was getting boners over the concept of a multiverse because they'd seen Loki season 1 and wanted to smooch their alter egos from other dimensions.
It's such a specific reference.
He's right.
Lee lifted an accusatory finger at the board. But I did it, didn't I? Even though you were all too busy funneling funding towards the equation for the perfect sandwich, or something equally banal, like a cure for cancer, I opened a doorway to another reality.
Lame.
Zachary Quinlan, the treasurer of the board, leant forward in his chair, his eyes dark over his narrow glasses.
Zachary Quinto is in this story?
Quinlan. We were all impressed by the prospect, Lee, but you opened an unauthorised door to that badger dimension, and all the lab assistants got tuberculosis.
Wait. Is that how you get tuberculosis?
You can get tuberculosis from badgers, yeah.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
That's why they cold them.
Damn. Shout out to my wife Crystal and her badger tuberculosis.
I thought they just called them because badgers had fur and it was to trade.
Yeah, that
I thought that's
roaring trade in badger pelts.
They love that shit in wherever.
In Greenland.
America?
Red, white, and blue land.
Oh no.
Isn't that the color of your pee today, Rich?
Yeah,
No,
definitely.
no. No. We're not doing that.
Then, when things were back up and running, you opened another door into that hideous hell dimension, and now YouTube is filled with reaction videos from demons trying to sap all our attention. Not to mention, every time you open the door, it costs $500,000. Well, you can't make an omelette of this prestige without breaking a few Fabergé eggs, Zachary, Lee Wen smiled. Science is risk and investment. It isn't hiding behind balance sheets and Logan Paul outbreaks.
I feel like we're in that one. Is that right?
Nonetheless, said a small man who looked like he had eaten a dried up prune that had been dehydrated inside of him and shat back out.
Oh my god.
His name
Can't picture that.
was Dr. Denya Katsevich, the head of theoretical science at Beltec. He was partially sighted and wore thick, black glasses. We expressly told you not to begin human testing. Lee looked down to find a red stain on his lab coat and quickly tried to brush it off. As he smeared the red stain into his coat, he pulled his fingers back to find a thin layer of fur on his fingers, which he sneered at in disgust. I wouldn't dare defy the will of the board. Dr. Katsevich stood in a fury, brandishing his cane at Lee. Where is my dog, Wen? Where is Mutsack?
Oh my god.
Mutsack,
Mutsack.
Lee wiped his finger quickly on the back of his trousers. I told you not to let a dog roam the halls of an experimental lab. Anything could have happened to him. Perhaps something groundbreaking, even.
Mutsack is Dr. Dog Manhattan? Oh my god.
This is a great story.
Gasps rippled along the board. Mutsack was my seeing eye dog, Wen.
Oh,
Well,
God.
I mean, perhaps your next one will allow you to see true genius, Wen sneered. In truth, he was very sorry about the dog. Mutsack had wandered into the lab as Wen was observing data from the monitors, and when he turned back, the Labrador was inside the aperture Wen had created. For just a second, Mutsack was traversing the omniverse, connecting with the millions and trillions of versions of himself. Lee was jealous for the fraction of a millisecond before the dog exploded.
Damn. Fuck you, Mudsack.
I have harnessed the ability to walk between realities, and you're worried about a canine? Dr. Ferguson kept her cool as she filed through Wen's research. We're worried about your shocking lack of care and ethics, Lee. The corners cut, the sending unauthorised probes through, bringing unsecure specimens back, and now skipping to biological testing without board approval. We have given you the time to flourish into this generation's Dr. Gay Hitler, but you're fast becoming the regular hetero Hitler.
The worst one.
The results do not justify the means, Dr. Wen. Lee shook his head in disbelief. It was like he had brought the wheel to them, and they were rolling it around with a stick while he was designing drag races. They do, if the results are this extraordinary. I've witnessed some of these realities where disease and poverty are eradicated, where humans have explored space, where singular people could harness the powers of these tears in reality themselves. Another voice rang out on the board, this time Patima Char, CEO of Big Money Corp.
I mean, why even make it more complicated?
Yeah.
And what about the Badger reality? Or the cliche one where the Nazis win? Lee rolled his eyes. Not this argument again.
The cliche one where the Nazis win. Again, sounds like here. I don't know.
Yes, this one. The Nazis were responsible for some of the most significant scientific breakthroughs in history. I read it in that book Josh Henderson lent me.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And
It's canon.
And while I'm not looking to usher in a Fourth Reich, I want to drag this terrible, despicable human race into prosperity. And you pencil pushers, you bean counters, all you want to do is hold us back so your investors can suck at the sagging teat of capitalism. Dr. Janet Ferguson stood and the rest of the board followed her lead. Well, Dr. Wen, this teat is closed for business. You're fired. His belongings, a teacup, a copy of Nude Scientist, the Playboy of the science world, and a
Look that up real quick.
and a Funko Pop of Bill Nye fit neatly into a cardboard box.
That's actually pretty cool.
As he stood at the curb looking at his meagre possessions, an odd wave of calm washed over him. He had deleted all their proprietary data before... He had deleted all the proprietary data he could before leaving. Not that there was much. He kept the notations and calculations in that eidetic memory of his. The results data was securely stored on the pen drive he kept with him at all times. That was all that mattered now. He let the box fall in the gutter and crossed the road to the nearby New Wave...
Bill Nye Funko!
He doesn't care. He's better than Bill Nye in his head.
He has one in the box at home, mint in box.
He let the box fall in the gutter and crossed the road to the nearby New Wave independent coffee shop, Beans on Roast. It was a monstrosity of... It was a monstrosity...
Very smart joke.
I feel like you gotta be from somewhere to appreciate that fully.
It was a monstrosity of black chrome and green highlight. The cost of renovation would probably have taken 2 years of profit, but what did that matter so long as it looked good? A tarted up facade with a vacuous emptiness inside. A place of sorrow.
Here, right?
How are you going to talk about Josh right in front of his face?
A place of sorrow and emptiness. He ordered a black coffee and sat alone, staring at the pen drive in his hand. $100 million for your thoughts? A voice suddenly sat next to him. Lee turned to find the well-kept, pristine and beautiful man next to him, sipping on an espresso. Please note, I
I'm
said
in this one.
espresso, not espresso. Espresso is not a thing, and never has been, you plebs.
Jesus.
It is if it's delivered to you quickly.
No.
I bet you that somebody has patented or trademarked espresso.
Probably.
I was
As a
gonna make
delivery
a joke
company.
about the bird that you ride on from Donkey Kong Country is named Espresso, but it's not. It's espresso.
It's not espresso? That's even worse.
Yeah.
That makes even less
That does make
Actually,
less sense somehow.
Let me look this up. This is the most important thing on the podcast now.
You need to
He's
bet
called
one-
Bird Ramby.
It is espresso.
There you go. See, that makes sense because it's a pun.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Lee Wen recognised him instantly. San Francisco's own tech CEO, trumpreneur, and billionaire Hank Roselar. His impossibly thick blonde hair and perfect teeth seemed to shine in slow motion as Lee stared. I'm sorry, I could have sworn this table was free, Lee stammered. Roselar laughed. Nothing's free, Dr. Wen. I should know. Lee froze. How do you know my name? Hank smiled again, those perfect teeth white and almost artificial. The smile didn't stretch to his eyes, though, which studied Lee like a dog studies another dog's shit that it might eat or roll in.
Wow.
That's somehow beautiful.
I make it my business to know all the movers and shakers and tearers in the tech world. Say, can I tell you a story? He didn't wait for Lee's nervous nod and just went on. My dad, bless his burning in hell soul, he was into weapons and pharma. As big a shitbag as you can imagine. A real ends justify the means sort, you know? Lee laughed and shook his head nervously. What a douchebag? Or a genius, depending on what response you want. Hank looked at him and smiled. Now I know, people will say Nazi Germany was a hotbed for cutting-edge science, and that much technically, I guess, is true. But I've always thought science evolves faster if we bring humanity along with us, you know? Like helping ugly people with plastic surgery. You know,
Exactly.
for the betterment of mankind. He put a finger on...
Plastic surgery and dick pills. That's what's going to push us into the stars.
He put a finger to his lip and breathed deep. Lee Wen was like a deer in the headlights. This man, he was a genius. The innovations in medical care and eco-science. He was like the... Lee didn't really know modern pulp culture. He was like the Duran Duran of tech. No, wait, that wasn't right.
Isn't that just Duran Duran?
He is the Frankie Says Relax of technology.
The Who's got the beef?
Frankie Goes to Hollywood of relaxing.
While he was thinking of a cogent analogy, Roselar was still talking. See, my money is in renewable energy, climate tech, infant mortality prevention, early warning systems for natural disasters, plastic waste destruction, all the lovely PR-friendly tech you can imagine. But to be honest, the thing that really gets my Bunsen burning is alternate realities. One day, I looked in the mirror and I saw something, a version of me that wasn't quite me. And it was something wonderful, something pure. At first I thought it was an alternate version of myself, he laughed. But it was obviously the chemicals in my brain not quite firing right, a hallucination fed by too much champagne and too many painkillers.
That'll do it.
Go birds.
Go birds.
What it did do was feed a dream of combining the strings of this omniverse into one glorious note. Combining the best of every universe. Imagine it, Lee. No hunger. No resource grabbing, the basic economic problem, disappearing overnight. People able to live like kings doing what they love. Poetry, art, horse training, fostering, whatever they want to do. I mean, that does sound wonderful, Wen said in a whisper. Do you know where the word patron comes from? Hank asked, but didn't wait for Lee's explanation.
Patreon.com/storylords.
Rich people would just pay artists to produce for them, sometimes exclusively, sometimes in a collective. The artist would thrive, and the art would thrive with it. Lee sipped at his coffee, his hands shaking. He could feel something amazing happening. Hank thrust out a hand and winked at Lee. I'm Henry Roselar. I'm sort of the king of patrons. When...
Oh,
I was like,
My
why
God.
does Roselar sound so familiar in my head?
what a genius.
Wen took the hand nervously. You're going to fund my work? Let's make some magic, Hank smiled. Part 2. The Method. Jim Walker was ushered into the White Room by the two fine gentlemen from corrections that smelled of casual beatings and his blockmate's dick.
Wow.
Damn.
They shoved him into the chair so roughly that it nearly tipped. Jim shifted his weight as best he could, but his hands and feet bound in thick electronic cuffs that restricted his movements. One of the guards, Harris, laughed at the sight of the humongous, thick, muscled man struggling to keep his balance and kicked at the chair leg, sending Jim slamming down onto the floor. A jolt of pain tore through Jim's side. Hey, Walker, you want to lick my boots while you're down there like the real shoe-shine boy you are? Harrison laughed, his wiry pedo moustache twitching as he laughed. Jim looked up deadpan. I would, boss, but you got my celly's jizz on him from when you made him suck your dick. Harrison looked down immediately, his face flushing with a sudden fear, but when he did, Jim smiled. Guilty much? He smirked. Harris lifted his baton over his head with gritted teeth, but was interrupted by the speaker system. You were asked to bring Mr. Walker to our facility, and that is all, a prim voice said over the speaker. If you so much as touch him, Mr. Harris, we will make things exceedingly difficult for you. Harris, mouth twitching, put the baton away and gestured for his partner to leave with him. You might also wish to know that we forwarded this interaction to your warden, along with a serious complaint that we suspect you're abusing inmates. Harris and his partner were gone in a flash, and as Jim reset himself in his chair, he looked up at the security camera and nodded. Not quite a thanks, but an acknowledgement. As he sat back, his cuffs whirred and dropped to the floor, releasing his wrists and ankles. The relief was bliss, and he rubbed at the tightness in his forearms. A regular 5-star place they have here, huh? Came a voice from the adjoining room. Jim stood and moved cautiously to the wide open space beyond this holding room. What looked like a large hotel suite stood before him, with some pretty significant creature comforts. The kitchen was stocked, a buffet of food laid out on the breakfast bar ready for them. A jukebox sat in the corner, though it was playing some white-ass country music that probably had the N-word thrown in on the first draft.
Yeah.
There were arcade machines in the corner, old-school Donkey Kong and Mortal Kombat 2. And at the far end, there were windows looking out over Coit Tower and Fisherman's Wharf, and in the distance he could see Alcatraz floating like some shit stain on the horizon. So, he was in San Francisco. Nice of them to remind us we're criminals, huh? A British white dude had pulled up next to him, an unassuming but stocky-looking guy with rounded Peter Parker-looking glasses, holding a book of poetry by Seamus Heaney. He was still in his prison jumps, ADX Florence printed on the rolled-up sleeves. Speak for yourself, Jim pointed a thumb to himself. Wrongly accused. The guy smirked. Yeah, of course. Along with half the incarcerated population. I'm not your solicitor, fellow. You don't have to keep up the pretense with me. Jim closed the distance between them.
That means lawyer.
Yes. And to his credit, the Brit didn't stand down. I said, I'm innocent. Hey boys, chill the pissing contest, yeah? Came a woman's voice from the lowered seating area, where two large L-shaped couches bordered a large coffee table piled with magazines and books. A Japanese-American woman stood and offered a hand to the approaching Jim. She had tied her prison oranges around her waist, a white vest underneath. Jim had to take a deep breath. He hadn't been around a woman in a spell. I'm Aki. Jim. He returned the shake, her tiny hand in his. This isn't the latest Saw movie, is it? I hate that fucking franchise.
Never saw it.
You're not missing much.
It's a good show.
I saw the first one.
The redhead next to Aki sighed. I don't know what's going on. I was held back from mandatory exercise, asked to get in a van, and here I am. Been here 2 days now. The bathroom door opened and a shaved-headed woman appeared at the door. Oh, fresh meat. She offered a fist and Jim bumped it. Her suit was labelled Washington Women's Corrections. She caught him looking at it. B&E and arson. My landlord tried to kick me out of my apartment for refusing his hand on my thigh as a valid suggestion to pay my rent. So I broke into his house and set it on fire. Name's Maggie. Aki, you met. Aki tutted. I stabbed my sister's would-be rapist in the leg and ended up getting 5 years. Thank you, American justice system.
Oh, man.
This is Liz. She was stupid enough and got caught with just the wrong amount of weed. The redhead laughed, her curls bouncing off her shoulders. Actually, Yaki, it was just the right amount of weed, thank you very much. But the extra ounce was enough to go from recreation to distribution, so Fun Time Lizzie became Hard Time Lizzie. Nice to meet you, Jim. Maggie pointed to the hard ass at the breakfast bar, picking at a Danish. The arrogant nerd over there is William. He's got, like, all the charm of a prolapsed anus, but I don't know what he's in for. Jim gave him this...
How much charm is that exactly?
It's -50.
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah, true.
Ironic because it's inverse, right?
Negative. No, negative. Nothing good, I'll bet. He's from that big Supermax in Colorado. It's like one of the worst prisons there is. What big bad are you in for? Drugs? Murder? Lizzie said over the issue of Time she was pretending to read. What? You see a black man and you presume? I suppose you saw the LA on my suit and thought, here's another brother from Inglewood, or Compton, or North Hollywood who must be a criminal, right? Jim's gaze narrowed. No, I just looked around the room and saw the company you're in, the jumpsuit and the cuff marks. Calm it down, Martin Luther Clink, Lizzie laughed.
Don't use that one in real life, everybody.
No. Unfazed by Jim's anger. Correct us, oh innocent one. I didn't do nothing. Case of wrong shade of brown in the wrong shade of Whiteberg. He shook his head. Not that it means anything to the LAPD. One black face is the same as any other, right? So where are you from? Aki asked. Well, I'm from Compton, Jim reluctantly admitted. Much to his compatriots' laugh. But that don't change the fact that I didn't do anything. I'm a school teacher who walked past a stick-up and the old lady fingered me rather than squint her eyes to see a little better. Cracker-barrel-ass bitch.
Cracker-barrel-ass bitch.
William came to sit down with the group, folding the page in his book and closing it. I guess we're ready for whatever they brought us here for, then. Aki raised an eyebrow. How do you figure? William sighed. Because I can count. There are 5 bedrooms off this main room. With the inclusion of our Neanderthal friend here, that takes us to 5.
Whoa.
It's because
You've been reading Josh's favorite book, William?
Look, it's not all bad.
Good science, I hear.
I'm kidding. Jesus fucking Christ.
There's some good ideas about trains running on time.
And roads, yeah. Use your fingers if it helps, Aki. Use this, William. Maggie grabbed her crotch. William pulled down his glasses and peered at her over the edge. You'd have to get me wasted first, Jada Shankit Smith.
Wow.
Aki and Lizzie. Will was
a bit of a reach,
dick.
but I'll take it.
Aki and Lizzie held her as she lunged for William, who didn't even flinch, just smiled at her. Jim wondered what drama he had walked into just as the window flickered to become a screen with an Asian scientist standing too close to the camera. Hello, everyone! The voice came through the same speakers that had warned the prison officers. Now, I want to say what I have to say without impediment, so please don't interrupt. My name is Dr. Lee Wen, and I have a proposition for all of you. I really want you to become subjects in a little off-the-books but perfectly safe experiment we have running here. I'm out, William said, standing and picking up his book. I'm not performing for... He suddenly went rigid, flecks of spit flying from his mouth, then slumped back into his chair, breathing hard. What? I asked you not to interrupt, Mr. Fairchild, Dr. Wen said, still in that cheery way of his.
Clap back.
Please don't make me do that again. The others looked around at each other, Maggie smiling at the jackass's shock treatment. I wouldn't necessarily smile, Miss Revel. You all have those implants installed to ensure good behaviour. All of you are walking up what I like to call Shit Avenue. You have been incarcerated and are either in imminent danger of death, or with no chance of being released, or cannot afford appropriate legal aid. The likelihood is you will serve your whole sentences, or probably more, or die in prison. Lizzie's eyes started to well with tears. By participating in this experiment, not only will your sentences immediately be revoked, but your records expunged. Once you sign these, A slot in the wall opened up to release a small metal shelf with 5 clipboards sporting a contract individual to each of them. Jim went over and grabbed them, distributing them to each. William nodded a thank you, his hand shaking as he took it. So, a series of tests will begin. Aki put a hand up. Yes, Miss Santoshi. Will we be in any danger? Dr. Wen considered for a moment. I mean, there's always a degree of inherent danger to every experiment. Look at Curie, or Pabst, or Slotted. So, but with this experiment...
Pabst Blue Ribbon. Pabst.
With this experiment, the risk to you is about as small as a House Republican's chody little peeper. And...
Chody.
And if the worst happens, the organisation I represent will pay your family $5 million. It's there on the contract, page 16. But what is this experiment, Lizzie asked, her eyes red. Well, you see, I can't actually tell you that. But what I can say is that we aim to use you to explore the universe. Your bodies will not be interfered with or hurt in any way. It's your mind we will use. It's kind of like astral projection. William scoffed, and he wasn't the only one who thought it was bullshit. As Liz and Aki signed almost instantly, Maggie and Jim looked at each other. What's the catch? Dr. Wen considered. Well, you won't remember any of this next year. Once you sign, you'll fall asleep tonight and wake in 12 months instantaneously. Your bodies will be property of this organisation to do with as you see fit.
Awesome.
No, thank you.
Can I do this?
I mean, no, it doesn't exist.
What?
I'm not the biggest fan of the idea that my body will be the property of an organization. I've already rented it out to about 30 or 40 of them.
That's why you got that U-Haul tattoo on your ass.
I got Netflix next on the other cheek.
No, thank you. Sounds a little too much like slavery to me, William said. No offence, obviously. Obviously, Maggie stared. Take us back to prison. Jim strode to the door. I'm not interested in this Twilight Zone shit. Dr. Wen smiled on the monitor. I also need to mention the remuneration. Aki looked up from the contract, her mouth an O of shock. $15 million apiece. For a year's work. She signed instantly. The others laughed. The others followed suit, apart from William, who turned his contract to page 1 and began studying it. Jim laughed. Why am I not surprised? Listen, fellow, I don't even have a wank without reading the Pornhub terms of service first, he smirked.
That seems like a waste of time.
Maybe that's what gets him off.
He loves legal minutia.
Part 3. The Experiment. Wen took a deep breath and started running the numbers before turning a series of switches at the large machine in front of his 5 test subjects. They had each been placed in white all-in-one suits, heads shaved. The rift in the controlled glass cabinet closed, putting out with a fizz of purple as it stitched the negative space together. He watched the monitors where recordings played of the 5 subjects. One had been in an underwater world of fish people. One in a fantasy land. One had existed as a gas cloud. It was fascinating. What do we have, Lee? Hank said, his arms crossed over his chest. Does it work? Lee turned, beaming with happiness. It's more than working, Hank. We can send their consciousnesses into their other reality counterparts. We can influence, communicate idea and purpose. It's everything we dreamed of, apart from that one dream I have about Anna de Armas and the rocky road-filled swimming pool.
I've definitely had that one.
Look, I ain't saying we've all had that dream, but I've come to it.
Hank held his arms wide and Lee returned the hug. They had worked so hard for so long, but now it was finally possible. They were on the cusp of true discovery. The attendants helped the test subjects from their pods and helped them to their feet. They were docile and calm like statues. The one they called Dose, the man who was once Jim Walker, looked down at Lee Wen. Did I perform adequately? Yes, Dose. Now you need some rest. Tomorrow is another adventure, Wen said as the attendants gave identical planned, coded responses to the others. But this time Jim seemed to wince, and when the technician tried to pull him away, he resisted. Dose? Dr. Wen said more forcefully. It's time to rest. The big man smiled, reverting to his normal docile nature. Yes, Dr. Wen. After Dose joined the others and took the lift down to the Habitat suite, Hank looked over at Lee. Do we have a problem here? Lee shook his head unenthusiastically but went to the monitor where the brain outputs were logged. I'll run some tests. But it would be impossible. It must be a result of something he saw through the rift. I'll run some checks. Part 4, the results. Hank Roselar stepped down from the control booth in shock and awe, his whole body trembling with excitement and adrenaline. They'd done it. He and Lee had developed stable omniversal travel. With a few more trips, a few more tests, they could influence those realities, guide them to help with the research, and then share technology. He could bring stability to this one. No more war, no more money-grabbing moguls, influencing politics and ruining life for a buck. He could bring order. There were other Hims, other Lee Wens, just like there were other James and other Maggies. As he traversed the metal steps, his knee nearly gave way. He needed to calm down to wash the sweat from his face. He steadied himself on the wall, feeling his pulse through his hands as he made his way to the bathroom. Hank ran the water in the bowl and plunged his face into the icy cold, instantly feeling better, then placed his hands on his face and brought his head up, almost trying to trap the sensation, the feeling. He took deep breaths at the mirror, trying to calm down. It was so close, the means to help people not just in this world but in everyone, helping them reach their potential, with no hatred, no fear, everyone working for the betterment of society. But as he pulled his hands away, he felt something change. In the mirror was the version of himself he'd seen all those years ago. The vision he had convinced himself was a partygoer's hallucination, but it was real. There it was, the best version of himself. It was his face. Well, a version of it, chromed and skeletal, wearing a green hood.
Fuck!
Thick metal ram horns protruded from his head and curved before pointing out towards Hank. And under the cloak, a writhing of black, oily tendrils, undulating and pulsing as if alive. Hank had never seen anything so beautiful. A mix of human and tech and some sort of magic and who knew what else. It was as close to God as an atheist could ever see. We're close, aren't we? Hank whispered, putting his hand up against the mirror. A tentacled mass pushed against the mirror from the other side, and if Hank didn't know it was his heart beating too fast, he could have believed it was the other him from the other side of the mirror pushing back, trying to get inside him. But suddenly black lines appeared over the skin of Hank's arm, crawling up towards his torso, then his neck, and as the lines got closer to his head, the other in the mirror started to disappear from the mirror, until Hank could see only his own eyes shining a bright yellow in his reflection. Hank pushed off the sink, slipping on the tiling and falling on his backside. It spoke, and the sound was like a siren song in Hank's ear. So close, it whispered, a small laugh in his own throat. A mere moth's wing away. The end.
What the fuck?
This is fucking crazy!
Henry Roselar, king of patrons, was the Technomancer the whole time?
She's a Techno-Lich!
Yeah.
I knew it.
You butt-fucked, Rich. What the hell?
Yeah.
I knew it. I always had this suspicion about that guy.
All the people that are now in the experiment have all had parts in other stories.
Yes.
And some more than one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I picked up on that, dog.
Good.
Yeah,
when you said Aki, I was like, ah.
Yeah.
I'm a smart boy.
Okay.
Yeah, that was amazing.
That was great.
Thank you.
Yeah. I like the part. I like how you did that. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
like an
part 1,
experiment.
part 2, part 3, was really, really good. I'm a big fan.
Oh, thanks. I planned it a little while ago, but I wrote most of it today between bouts of, piss and blood. Okay.
All right.
Josh.
All right.
Calm down.
Oh, I'm gonna pass out.
I do love the little, for anyone who's like, why are they fucking picking on Lee Wen? And he's just like, those Nazis had some good ideas. So the whole audience is like, oh, that's why.
That's why.
That's what it is.
They know.
That's what it is. Yep.
When
No, that was sick, dude.
When someone shows you who they are, believe them, right?
Right.
That's right. That's why we're still friends with Rich, because he showed us he was British, and we were like, that's okay.
Yeah. It's just okay. It's not great. It's just okay.
It's not the best, I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, on a scale of British to American, it's pretty good.
It's not that much better, let's be honest.
No.
I guess we'll see over the next 4 years.
It's still better.
Yeah.
It's still better.
Yeah, I'm glad we're having... well, I should probably say this. We're having a break next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to do what we planned and have a break at quarter season, half season, and 3/4 through. But I'm glad. I'm glad to leave that sort of cliffhanger with people.
Yeah, let it marinate.
Yeah, let them think.
Did we all do cliffhangers?
Yeah.
I think we might have. Mine's not really is one, but sort of is one.
Is it Scrabble's Dan?
You know, I thought about it.
You should have just
I
put
did
one
think about
sentence
it.
at the end.
But I couldn't shoehorn that in right now.
Right at the end, after you like to be continued, and also Scrabble's Dant took another step.
I was gonna put it in and then be like, wait, doesn't this happen in the past? Should we not be here?
Oh, right. Okay. You guys can listen to some music by the awesome Vidazen right now, and we will come back in about a minute for a
brand new
Jeff
tunes.
story. Yeah, brand new tunes. They don't know, but now they do.
10 out of 10 tunes too, baby.
And we will see you in Shake of a Lamb's Tail.
What the fuck was this?
Welcome back.
Shit.
Piss
some blood.
I hope that helped you get into a spooky mood, because Jeff's going to read a story now.
Uh-oh.
His title is called Saw 12.
I forgot to write a story.
Uh-oh.
The title of my story is Odd Couple Ass Buddy Cop Horse Shit Part 2.
Oh, yeah.
Stop or your mom will shoot. And then in parentheses, a big cum.
Wait.
Don't think about it.
Sploosh.
Yeah, down by the old factory district, across the street and back across the empty lot, Johnny Long said distantly into his cell phone's receiver, holding it out and away from him on speakerphone like a real fucking piece of shit boomer would. There's some kind of a cellar or a sub-basement or something left behind from construction that's been demolished here. You was supposed to go to the girl's house and re-interview her parents, Long. I didn't give you permission.
Boss.
I didn't give you permission to go spelunking up some kid's ass in the middle of a field.
Wow.
The unmistakable voice on the other line groaned out with the deep, husky voice only a lifetime of eating cigarette butts could give you. It was Mrs. Calder, his direct superior at the Davenport Detective Agency. Not that you even did any goddamn spelunking in that story to begin with. What do we even give you these prompts for, goddammit? Look, I'd set up the interview with the boyfriend before I got your oh-so-eloquent order. Also, maybe don't scream about spelunking a boy's hole while you're on speakerphone, huh? Long said, looking around to make certain no one of authority had overheard that and made the mistake of taking her horse shit literally. It was still just a huge empty field with him, his idiot incel partner Gordy, who was kicking rocks at the tree line in the distance, and Madeline Brooks' high school sweetheart, Aiden Temple. who was staring empty-eyed at the uncovered black abyss below his feet, not moving a muscle. Not to be confused with the empty, uncovered black abyss of your mother's nasty-ass gash that's always not moving a muscle, because that shit's so worn out the muscles don't even operate anymore. You just hope the dick fits right.
I mean, isn't that the hope anytime?
We're going down in a minute. I'll let you know what we find, Johnny said without inflection, closing his 2002-era flip phone and shoving it back into his pocket idly as he turned his attention to the young boy with deer in headlights look in his eyes. Hey, kid, it's Aiden, the young man snapped out of it, shoving his hands into his sweatpants pockets and looking away across the field. I'm 18. I'm an adult man. Your nasty-ass mom's favorite. You were a sperm when I got my first ball hair. I'll reserve the right to call you a kid, Johnny grimaced, holding his hands up in the air and motioning for Gordy's attention. When the hapless dweeb finally caught sight of the waving hand, he waved back like they were suburban neighbors greeting each other. Idiot. Johnny then waved for him to come over and join them. Look, Aiden, you should stay up here and wait for the police to arrive. They're going to have some questions you don't want to be missing when your name comes up. You called the cops? Aiden asked, a tinge of worry at the edge of his voice and a slight shift of his eye catching Johnny's attention. He settled almost immediately, though, rubbing his arm again thoughtlessly as he spoke. I thought you just called your boss. I didn't know is all. I'm required by law in cases of missing persons to inform the police any information I gain that might lead to finding locating the missing person. I called them first. Plus, I honestly just didn't want to hear the same old shit from Calder until I absolutely had to. Johnny spoke with his head turned away from Aiden, only shifting his eyes back to him when he almost made the mistake of calling Madeline Brooks a body instead of a missing person.
Yeah.
He had been watching Gordy trip and fall his way across the field like a Benny Hill skit, just missing the yakety sax and girls in lingerie. You needed me? Gordy finally excitedly spat out as he arrived, covered in twigs and burrs alongside the other two. His eyes immediately fell on the open cellar door and the hole beneath it, widening considerably behind his Coke bottle lenses. What the what? Is that a secret passageway like in Zelda? Or in some copyright-free, distinct, but still recognizably related fantasy adventure video game series that won't get us blown off the face of the earth by Nintendo lawyers? Holy cow! I don't know what any of that means. I've cummed before, Johnny responded flatly. He found it beneath where Maddie and I were dancing at the party last Saturday. It's like a cellar or something, I don't know, Aiden said. First with disgust in his voice at Gordy, and then with creeping discomfort.
Fucking Black Parade over here.
He placed his hand over his mouth and looked between the two men with a wavering fear in his voice, whispering, "Oh God, it's been over a week. If she was down there, then..." "We don't know anything yet," Johnny interrupted. He motioned for Gordy towards the direction they had come to make it to the field. "Head back to the car and grab the flashlights, a pair of handcuffs, and my revolver. We're going down to see what's what." What am I, your sidekick? I got 3 degrees in computer sciences and tech development, and you passed a gun safety test. If anything, I'm Batman and you're Robin.
Yeah, which one's more useful right now?
You should be fetching my flashlights, and you know what? Maybe bring me a latte while you're at it. Soy milk. Regular milk hurts my tummy. Thank you. Gordy babbled, stupidly. If you don't go get the flashlight, cuffs, and my gun, I'm gonna beat you. Severely, Johnny said without even looking at him. Gordy paused for a moment, and then turned and began tromping off in the direction they had arrived in, back towards the car. He muttered to himself as he went, "I'm the only one who does anything around here. May as well just solve this mystery myself while you jerk your dick off and suck down whiskey, you little dink."
Wow.
Juniors.
Holy shit.
"Shut the fuck up while you do it," Johnny called after him. Then he turned back to Aiden. As Johnny spoke, Gordy continuously turned back at him and flipped him off over and over again, sometimes adding in his tongue sticking out or doing the double birds really angrily.
This kid's getting ballsy.
Yeah.
Johnny didn't even bother looking back at him. You stay up here, Aiden. We'll be down and back before you even start to feel antsy about it. The flashlights barely illuminated a few feet down into the darkness of the cellar, a few steps at a time, as Johnny and Gordy crept down inside. It didn't make much sense, because I had set this during midday last story for some reason. Fuck if I know why. But it's there, so I have to keep continuity. Real 10 out of 10 horror writer stuff, by the way, Jeff. Set your fucking horror story around lunchtime, the spookiest time of them all, idiot.
Well, if you're working, you have to go back to lunch. So go back to work after lunch. So
You want to take a nap, or you got to go back to work.
Yeah. What if he's eating a big lunch? That would be really scary. He might fall asleep.
Like a meatball hoagie for lunch, then you got to go back to work and sit at a desk.
Oh man.
Still, it was real dark down there anyhow, somehow. Bite me.
Yeah, he's underground. That makes sense.
Last time I went into a basement, it was at the Brooks' house, and there was some kind of boogin down there, like a Frankenstein or something, so watch out, Johnny said without much emotion or inflection as he walked down the stairs, one uneasy footfall at a time, half sideways to accommodate the shallow depth of the stairs themselves. What the flying fuck are you even saying to me right now? Gordy responded with an upturned lip, following along step by step. I warned you, Johnny responded with a shrug.
He did his due diligence.
The dual shafts of light from their torches. There you go, Rich. Check that shit out. I said torch. Eh?
It is cool that you guys call it a torch.
Yeah.
I wish we did.
It's cool.
Oh. The dual shafts of light from their torches were slowly stirring through the darkness around them like a ladle through a dense soup, illuminating only a small circle at their ends, which were only seeing wooden shafts holding up dirt walls and old half-broken wooden steps for what honestly felt like too long. How deep could this cellar have been anyway? Finally, the monotony broke, and before them, at the base of the steps, was a hallway, bisecting the space so that they were facing directly at a black old wooden wall with no adornment in the center of the hallway. One door at each end of it on either side. Oh, thank God, we have to split up.
Wow.
Wait, that's wrong. Oh, thank God, we have to split up. Johnny sighed heavily in
much
relief.
more understandable, yeah.
That makes sense.
What? I'm not trekking through some god-awful subterranean sex dungeon by myself, Gordy yelled out, his voice producing a ear-grinding, tinny echo off the walls of the tight quarters they found themselves in. Pipe down, Johnny called out in a harsh whisper, placing his free hand over one of his ears to shield against the echo. You go through every other sexual experience of your life alone. What's the difference this time?
It's a good way to look at it.
You think you're so funny, Gordy huffed out in a normal tone, at least for his nasally ass. You're no Joe Rogan, sir.
Oh, no. Get out, Gordy.
I don't know who that is, and I imagine there's a pretty large number of people who are viciously jealous of me because of that, Johnny said.
Amen.
Turning from the bottom of the stairs and heading down the hallway to the left, he motioned with his free hand down the other direction. Go right. Try not to get killed by a bagul. Or maybe do the narrative a favor. By the way, bagul is what they call your mom's butthole. Pinhead is what they call your dad's dick. Gone in 60 Seconds is what they call your cums. That one isn't even a horror movie. Fuck you. Just kidding. Thanks for listening. So Johnny Long took the left path, and Gordy Gordon took the right path. Johnny's hallway was pitch black save for the pin light of his flashlight piercing through it like a javelin, leading his way further and further along a path he couldn't keep track of in relation to the world above him. Was this heading back towards the highway, or was this going deeper into the field? Underneath the old houses he had seen in the distance? He couldn't have traveled that far already, could he? He couldn't keep his bearings straight. On and on the hallway went, the walls slowly changing from perfectly symmetrical wooden crossbeams above him to simple stone and dirt having been dug out like a miner's tunnel. The shifting earth above him began to make him uneasy, but he pushed on, trying to keep his pace up to fool himself into thinking he wasn't feeling the fear rising in his stomach. The walls began to move in on him. At first he thought it was a trick of the perspective, of how long he'd been moving forward, but it became obvious by that point that the tunnel hadn't been dug out to the same specs the entire way through. It was shrinking around him as he pushed further and further forward. He wasn't a tall man, but even he was beginning to have to stoop as he moved. And just when he started to wonder if it was going to become too small for him to continue, he found his flashlight landing upon a small wooden door at the end of the hall. He sidled up to it much more slowly, scanning the surface for any sort of signage or machinery, any kind of a sign of what its use happened to be. But all he found was dimly etched into the old splintered wood was a dull, round, red circle of paint, about the size of a volleyball, right in the center of it, about chest height.
Wilson!
I was just going to say that. Wilson!
Wilson, no!
What the fuck? He whispered to himself, the sound of his voice echoing so loudly back down the hallway from whence he came that it caused him to jump violently in fear from the sudden crackling return of his own words. Fuck! He yelled into his hands, holding them over his mouth to stop his voice from echoing again, to some success. With annoyance bubbling up inside of him, he turned quickly and flitted his flashlight around to find the door handle, reached out, and turned it all in one go, tired of slinking quietly through the dark. He yanked the door open all at once, causing a small, tinkling shower of dirt and rock to fall to the floor in front of him. Still, he pushed on, stepping into the room beyond. The air inside felt thin, but spread out, which gave Johnny his first clue that things around him had changed dramatically. He turned his flashlight around from one side of the room to the other, finding dull, dark air with whiffs of dust and dirt dancing through his light here and there. The room must be quite large, he thought to himself, like the listener's mother's butthole large. Well,
You mean her bagoo?
well, maybe not that large. Let's not get ridiculous.
It's gotta be believable, the story, Jeff. Come on.
As he moved, the light finally caught sight of something tangible in the darkness. Strange metal sconces built into the ground, with remnants of old half-burned wood in them. Lacquered, barely aged pews of wood reaching out from where he stood into the shadows beyond on both sides of him. As in a church, as if he was standing in the procession line, but far too new-looking and well-maintained to be buried down here for as long as it seemed. The silence felt oppressive suddenly, and he felt the need deep within him to make some sort of joke or pithy comment to release some of the built-up tension within him. Like maybe a joke about how your mother is such a godless Jezebel that they call her the town crier due to her wailing vocalizations forthwith during the copious fits of copulation she endures with all manner of ruffian and vagabond should the coin be correct.
Man, this is fucking classy as hell.
That one was medieval because this all felt very much like he'd uncovered a hidden medieval church beneath the ground in buttfuck nowhere, Florida.
But
he kept his voice to himself for the moment.
Better because you explained it.
But he kept his voice to himself for a moment. Boom! The explosive sound of wind rushing around him sent him flailing into the floor, his flashlight spinning across the old stone tiles he knelt upon, and facing backwards towards him with its field of light. The wind howled, but it was not motionless as it had been in his dream. Instead, it blew about him so powerfully as to send him flying off the stone beneath his feet, but he resisted it as hard as he could. The flashlight dappled around haphazardly, illuminating pew and stone and sconce and wall, even strange tapestries for a moment here or there with a red circle on them, but only for long enough for his subconscious to remember them. Johnny was far too busy trying as hard as he could to stay even remotely standing. He stumbled and he clawed at the floor, finally finding a handful of purchase at the end of a large wooden pew to steady himself against. But this time the flashlight had gone out, leaving him entirely in darkness. He struggled to maintain any kind of sight, but couldn't pierce the black veil any better now than he could with the aid of the light, dancing as it was. The wind was so loud and so deafening that he ground his teeth together, hearing only the high-pitched tone at the end of the sound amongst the swirling, hateful wind that threatened to rip him apart at his seams. But slowly, ever so slowly, that tone began to coalesce in his ears. There was a rhythm to it, all at once familiar and foreign beyond all measure, but he struggled to hear it all the same, an island in the center of a cacophony that he desired refuge on more than anything in that moment. There are 2 moons. Do not trust their faces. We are watching. Boom! Boom! Johnny fell to the floor in a heap, the wind having suddenly stopped altogether, causing him to slam onto the stone in the direction he'd been pushing against it. He lay there, silently, in the sudden dark silence that surrounded him, his eyes wide open but finding nothing to see but inky blackness in every direction. His ears did not ring, or hurt, as he would have imagined after such a horrific onslaught. Instead, there was a stillness through him that felt like death. Slowly, ever so slowly, he pressed into the floor below and pushed himself back up to his knees, leaning back onto them and raising his head into the air. "Fuck!" he screamed at the top of his lungs all at once, releasing the horrid tension within him in one bestial roar. He sat silently once more, his hands on the stone at his sides limp. Click, 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 tunk. He felt something touch his hand and recoiled away from it, his eyes wide and sightless in the pitch black. But the sudden sensation that the touch had been familiar hit him all at once as well. It was plastic. He reached back down and found his flashlight laying where it had rolled into his hand. He tried not to think about the fact that without the wind there was nothing that could have rolled it back over to him as he flicked it back on again.
Ghosts.
With as much speed and thoroughness as he could, he whipped it around the room, finding nothing again but empty pews, unlit sconces, torn old parchment, and illegible wall decorations beyond. He was alone once more. Long! A voice from what felt like miles away echoed into his ears, causing him to jump slightly once more, but mostly causing him to scramble up to his feet and point the flashlight back in the direction he'd come. The voice was the unmistakable globulo-nasal whine of Gordy G. Gordon.
Wow.
And it seemed not quite scared, more unsure than anything. Any excuse to leave this place would have been good enough. Shit, having to do his fucking taxes would have got him out of there at that point. So he hurried back to the small wooden door he'd come through and out into the now growing hallway he had traversed to get here, running as fast as his now dirtied white sneakers could take him. He made the trip back much, much faster than he had made the trip there, which made the uneasiness in him raise once more, but he swallowed it down with one of his panting breaths to keep pushing himself forward. Down the hallway, past the stairs he had come down, through the doors at the other end, he found even more hallway, but thankfully much, much shorter this time. At the hall's end was a simple doorway with nothing on it, and beyond that, an actual cellar, filled with old empty barrels, bottles that had been long drained, hay stacked up to the ceilings, walls of cobblestone, and one very scared 20-something nerd in an unseasonable white suit standing at the other end of it. What is it? Johnny finally managed to rasp out. Gordy turned and pointed to the back corner of the room, beyond where he stood. Johnny ran up to him and pressed him out of the way with one hand, looking around to where he was pointing. In the corner of the room, tucked behind one of the huge stacks of empty barrels, was a girl, huddled into a ball motionless. "Is that?" Johnny said in a hushed tone, his eyes wide as his flashlight trembled on top of the girl's form across from him. But slowly the girl's arms unfolded off of her body, pressed into the hay beneath her, to unsteadily lift herself up off the ground. Her hair was knotted and filled with hay dangling over her face as she stood.
Hey.
But there was a deep wobble in her motions as she did. She slowly drew her hands up and pushed the matted hay-covered hair away from her features, revealing tear-stained cheeks and steel-gray eyes looking at him pleadingly, her lower lip quivering. "Madeline?" Johnny asked with a deep shock beneath his tone, his own eyes wide and trembling as they stayed on her. Oh my God, finally! I've been down here so long, I couldn't find my way in the dark. Oh, thank God!" The young girl said with a rasp of pain in her voice like she had been screaming for help for hours and hours. She smiled a small, weak smile, and Johnny Long recognized that smile from the rows and rows of family photos in the Brooks home when he had visited. He recognized that smile on Margaret Brooks's face when he had managed it during their first meeting. After more than a week of being missing and presumed dead, he was staring directly into the eyes of Madeline Brooks. The end, or to be continued.
How did she drink water?
We don't know. We don't know yet.
I love how you made it. I believe she was dead. Like, I was like, oh, she's fucking dead, right?
She's been missing for over a week.
Who
Yeah, that
says
means you're
she
dead.
isn't dead?
I don't fucking shut up.
We don't know. We don't know what's happening.
I don't know.
That was great.
That
Thank
was
you.
awesome.
You've got this thing recently where you're not making your stories particularly long in terms of narrative, but what you're doing is you're packing it full of atmosphere.
Yeah,
Well, thank you. Yeah, that was 6 pages.
that's one of your main strengths, I think, is you could. This is like novel writing. Like, you could write a novel.
Thank you. I could be a rich masters.
You could be a real rich master.
Maybe you should. This Rich Master certainly isn't getting any attention on it, so...
No.
You get lots of attention from me, though, in the bedroom.
That's true. That's why my
do
current
you
medical predicament is happening.
Why do you think you were pissing blood? That was my blood you were pissing.
What the fuck?
What? Who said that?
So to everybody who thought that my story was going to be a direct knockoff of Twin Peaks, how you fucking like me now?
I like also how you make Gordy, like, hateable. Like, he's almost Filchian.
Flynchian.
Flynchian. Yeah, that's the word.
Not to be confused with Lynchian.
No.
There's the new kid on the block, Flynchian.
Flynchian. But I do kind of picture Gordy as, like, a young David Lynch. Who's like, what the hell? It kind of sounds like it. So.
I want Gordy to be a very different character than like Dev was, even though they are both huge dweebs. They're in 2 completely different worlds of dweebs.
Well, something's going on with Gordy because he got like train abducted.
Yeah, with the cannibals.
Or did he?
Did he?
Or, yeah, right?
The story specifically said, or did it?
Or did I remember that.
I mean, that's really...
And then I thought, what do I really know?
That's really how we should end each story. Or did it happen?
Or did it?
And then no one can say anything about the details being missing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, this doesn't make sense. Well, it's probably because it maybe didn't happen.
Yeah. Think about that.
Excellent,
Smartass.
excellent use of your mama jokes as well.
Thank you.
Good. Especially like the Victorian-ish one.
That was great.
I started writing a regular your mama joke, and I was like using such flourishing language for some reason. I was like, let me just turn this full like poetry.
Then you were thinking about the Ren Fair when we went. You were like,
Yeah,
"That's a good time."
always.
That's why there were so many references to bees as well.
God damn it, fucking bees. Oh my
Look,
god.
we know bees' natural weakness is absinthe now, so we're
They
fine.
do not like absinthe. I know that.
Oh, man.
Disgusting apple absinthe.
Oh god, that was so nasty.
That must have been like paint stripper.
It
It
smelled
was.
like paint stripper.
It-
I would have preferred that smell, actually.
All right. So that's 2 parts down. You coming back for the third one? Of course you're coming back for the third one. It's Josh.
Oh, I
Josh!
gotta go? Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not going
Yeah.
again. So,
Can we just rehire Kevin? He can do it.
well, I mean, Evan's after a spot, so, you know.
I was gonna say, are you gonna read his story?
Oh, yeah, all right. I'll read it. When shall I read it? Shall I read it now or next part? I'll read it now.
We'll do it next.
Yeah, you can
alright.
read it after Josh's story.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Right, okay.
All right,
Yeah,
all
for
right.
our third official guest.
I didn't read it because I wanted to hear you read it. I saw that you.
Full of
It's a
atmosphere.
barn burner.
It's a. All right. I purposely didn't read it.
All right, so we'll be back in one more short minute. You got another new Vidazen track to listen to. You fucking lucky bitch.
Josh, choose both 3s for this one.
He's 3 in right now,
Okay, I
and
will.
he's loving it. Right, we'll be back in an indeterminable amount of time. Bye. hello. Three hellos, because we're in part 3. And it's time to take a little detour to Daranos.
Oh, cool.
Yep, that's what we're expecting.
That's
So you wanna read a story real quick, Josh? Or
I was gonna let just Rich read his again. Maybe you could read half of yours.
We'll read half of mine. Half
Half of the
Jeff's.
first. Yeah.
wouldn't it be
together.
fucked up if they lined up somehow if we
really
did that?
would.
It wouldn't be surprising to me, honestly. All right, my story, which I definitely named yesterday, is called "Nice Shrew Meet You."
It took you a day to come up with that.
I just said I did it yesterday. Do you not believe me?
No, I believe
No.
you.
The wind howled outside of the cavernous labyrinth that Ugla and the gang had found themselves trapped in. All around was a sickly sweet smell and a mist that could talk. Oh, God, a nice shrew! Squib cried in terror. What is that? I think it means that it's not going to suck our magic, you disregarded foreskin, Axe shot back. Your honeyed words will only get you so far, your majesty, Squib said, curtsying. The cripple is right, the nice shrew said.
God damn. That's not nice.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's not a thing that's okay to say anymore, but thanks, I guess, Axe said with a shrug. I apologize. The nice shrew seemed to bow in apology. It has been a millennia since I interacted with anyone who you might consider alive. Ugla looked at Squib, who was running his warty fingers through the mist. Stop it, she whispered, yelled at him, as if he were a child named Evan. So, what is it you eat then, if not magic? Like, how are you still alive, in quotes? Can we say alive? Ugla questioned. Oh, don't worry, the nice shrew reassured. I consist mostly on kale and would never harm you. Ugla and Axe looked around. The cave was dusty and rocky. Gray rocks were scattered about, but there was no sign of anything alive or growing. So you, order from PubHub or XS?
That's genius. Fuck.
Excellent.
Oh, no, the nice shrew said. Kale is my captured ward. The nice shrew moved a wispy hand, and the mist parted, exposing a small cutout near a tunnel. There, chained and cuffed to the wall, was an ancient-looking pale elf. Sup, I'm Kale, he said, doing the hang-loose motion with his cuffed hand. Sup, all three adventurers said, uncomfortably in unison. But you said you don't feast on people? Squib asked. Squib asked, moving his hand back from the mist cautiously. Who's talking now? Don't worry. Kale here was a dark wizard of sorts for a time. He also cheated on his taxes a bunch and was a chronic masturbator, the nice shrew said. Guilty as charged, brah, Kale said, wiping something from his hand on his dirty rags. Oh. Well, I guess that's bad, Ugla said. Yes, I too am against the chronic masturbating, Axe said side-eyeingly. Yes, I too am against the chronic masturbating. Too, Squib said, looking at Axe, imagining her nude for his spank bank later on, when he could finally chronically masturbate in peace. You must all be tired. I have prepared a room for each of you, the nice shrew said. No offense, your shrewness, but we're kind of in a hurry, and our companion here is in need of medicines and tonics if you have any to spare, Ugla interrupted. The nice shrew corporealized a little more and bent over, looking at Axe's severed arm. It looked so closely that in a close-up there was maggots and hair and toenails and old Band-Aids, and a foghorn sound went off for some reason like in Ren and Stimpy. Oh, yes, I see, it said. It then held out a cloudy, barely corporeal hand over the wound. Axe moaned in relief as she sounded a little too much like... Axe moaned in relief, and it sounded a little too much like when I made your mama moan in relief last night. You could say I soothed her axe wound if you catch my meaning. This is about when the cutaway would happen, and you'd imagine me sperminating your precious, life-giving female parent. But since last week's episode, I think we should make a few changes. Not only did I fill your mama's lap bakery with my gallon of baby batter, I also took your daddy out back to the woodshed where I bent him over and reenacted my favorite scenes from HBO's acclaimed series, Real Sex 69, Raw Dog and Butts. I'm pretty sure I got them both pregnant. How is that possible, you ask? Well, when you're shooting straight baby juice out of the 50 caliber meat rifle I'm packing, how could they not both get preggers? Wow. Just to reiterate, I fully inseminated both of your parents last night, and if you have a problem with me writing about it, or anyone else writing about it, make sure you send your emails to goosebuddspod@gmail.com.
Sorry, Chad.
My only hope is that when they both give birth, they'll give birth to two beautiful babies who have a better sense of humor than you, so we can finally replace you. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Well, I just for tax purposes, I'll go ahead and get rid of those pledges, I think, because it's only a matter of time now.
I'll have what she's having, Squib said, looking around for a laugh. No one would ever laugh. Axemoon looked down at her raw red arm and saw the skin now sealing itself together. The redness was turning back into pale porcelain color, and the maggots dropped off one by one. Oh God, yes, right there. Oh, fuck, yes. Keep hitting that spot. Oh, she moaned. I'll have what? Stop, Ugla interrupted. That should heal up nicely, the nice shrew said, returning to mostly mist. Hey, if you need to top off, let me know, shrew baby, Kale said, doing the double bongos. Come follow, Shrew said with a finger motion that you only usually see when a stationary pie is enticing a street urchin by showing a little too much crust on the windowsill.
Street urchin floating through on the smell.
Oh, my youth.
They entered an adjacent cavern and the mist filled the whole cave. Sick fog machine, Squib said, air guitar. Axe was still rubbing her stumpy arm through the mist. When she looked up, it was already dissipating. Whoa, she said. The cavern had turned into a mansion, a crackling fireplace the size of all 7 rich masters' fireplaces combined. Wow. The smell of oak and cedar wafted through the air. A winding staircase ascended into what only moments ago was lifeless rock. This is extravagant, Ugla said. I kind of like the cave better, Squib admitted. You may each take a room. Breakfast is at 6 a.m. And if you have any questions, be sure to ask. Don't forget to rate and review on Air BBC. Big Black Cave, for those uninitiated.
Yeah.
Axewoon lay her head upon a pillow that was softer than y'all's fragile egos.
Whoa.
Oh, man.
She felt no pain in her stumpy arm at all. As she closed her eyes, she couldn't help but imagine that somehow she was laying on a big stone or something that was just magically turned into a soft pillow. Oh well, she would take it. Ugla lay her staff against the wall in her own room. She couldn't shake that something was weird about this place. Not just because a literal cavern was now a mansion, that would make any robber baron worth his weight in stolen gold three with excitement, but because, well, she couldn't quite put her finger on it. Just then, Squib knocked on the door. Ugla, he said annoyingly. Can I sleep in your room tonight? No, she yelled. Go back to your own big boy bed like a big boy. But there was a long silence behind the door. This place is scary and the bed is too comfy and I much prefer the rocks. Ugla rolled her eyes. Fine, she relented. Squib opened up the door and ran toward the end of the bed holding a blanket. his tongue wagging as he excitedly curled up on the floor of the foot of Ugla's bed. "Thanks, Uggy," he said, quickly falling to sleep and snoring cartoonishly. Me, 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 me. Soon they were all fast asleep. Clocks chimed through the mansion every half hour, like the time I slept over at your Meemaw's house. I mean, I didn't really sleep over. Look, now's as good a time as any. Not only am I fornicating your mother and father, but I'm also giving your Gam Gam hip treatments for her ailing osteoporosis-riddled hips from the inside. That dusty bitch's cooch might be drier than a flour factory foreman's mouth after he did the cinnamon challenge, but damn, if she doesn't know how to sloppy a toppy. Probably learned how to do it right when your peepaw was off giving FDR a five-knuckled salute under his lap blanket at the Yalta conference.
Oh my god.
So many specifics in that, Joe.
It's because she's got no teeth. That's why she's so
Right,
good.
right. What you know, you know.
Yeah. And you'll never write a day in your life?
Yeah, I think that's it. Slowly, a white mist began to seep into the dark, into the crack under the door, like my white piss seeped into the crack under your mama's lap door. Axemoon was passed the fuck out. She was more asleep than the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line was last night. Go Birds. The mist hovered slowly above Axe as a face formed, a pale white skeletal face. "No, that's my cheesy gordita crunch, you naughty little mumble, mumble, mumble," Axe said in her sleep. The mist froze. Axe fell back to sleep. As Axe fell back to sleep, the mist's eyes began to glow a blue dim light. "Fire sauce? You nasty, but okay," Axe mumbled. The mist's eyes flashed off as it slunk back under the door from whence it came. Axemoon shot open a single eye and craned it toward the door. In the room next door, Ugla was finally asleep. Squib was snoring away like a puppy and kicking in his dreams. He was probably dreaming of rabbits. The mist began to pool on the floor next to Squib. It chilled him to the bone, and he yelped and yipped, covering himself up more. As the mist drew closer to Ugla, it again revealed its skeletal frame. The face was of a corpse that had been long dead, kind of like your mom and dad's sex life until my fire crotch ass got up in there and stoked the fires of their inner lust. By that I mean I came a lot in them. A lot. Multiple unprotected times. It smelled like a YMCA pool in there after I was done with them. Oh. Again, the mist's eyes glowed a blue hue. This time, however, the glow was bright and brilliant. The mist quickly closed its blue, blazing eyes and almost seemed to shiver in excitement. Finally, it held out an ethereal hand and grabbed Ugla by the neck. Ugla woke suddenly, but it was too late. She was frozen. What? She tried to yell. Above her, the face of death leered down into her soul. It laughed a deep, menacing laugh as its skeletal figures were now locked in a permanent smile. Its eyes blazed blue yet again as it breathed in deeply. Ugla's eyes also began to glow. She tried to close them, but this wasn't the X-Men and she wasn't a Cyclops. The mist heaved its bosom inward as a burst of blue magicka shot from Ugla's chest into the mist. Bam! Suddenly, the door to Ugla's room burst from its hinges and collapsed onto the floor. "A nice shrew, huh?" Axemoon said defiantly. She stood with blazing, natural green eyes and one hand on her hip. What the? Oh, wait, sorry. What the? Squib woke up slowly. He looked at Ugla and saw the skeletal mist devouring Ugla's magic. "A fucking ghost!" He screamed 8-year-old girlishly. What? I was just siphoning off some bad energies. Yeah, that's what it is.
That's the ticket.
That's the ticket. The night shrew said, quickly reverting its face back to a more pleasant, nondescript, mannequin-esque form. "Yeah, sure," Axe said, rolling her eyes. But you said you were a nice shrew, Squib began to cry. I lied, the night shrew said, again turning its features into a skeletal form. But, you poophead, you stinky poop face, Squib cried. Look, I don't care what you do to these two idiots, especially little Miss Beardy Two Shoes over there, Axe said. But why the mansion? Why all this elaborate nonsense? And what about Kale? Squib cried. This whole cave is a ley line. The whole place feeds off of your magic. Kind of like that episode of the X-Scrolls when Boulder and Scully, spelled Skully, get trapped in that giant mushroom and are fed on while hallucinating. Except this cave is not a mushroom. The more your mind accepts the illusions, the more it feeds. What is magic if not the imagination, after all? I am its steward. I guard the gate and collect the fee. And little one, the nice shrew turned again into Ugla's frozen, terrified face. The bill is due. Help! Ugla managed to eke out. She tried to reach Axewound, but she couldn't move her limbs. Why not suck me dry then, when you had the chance, Axe said, trying to bide time. You? The shrew began to laugh. You? It said, fully in the throes of LOLing. You are a parasite, a husk, a used shell. I would no more get but a midnight snack from your lack of magic. And I mean like a pack of shark bites, not like going to Wawa at midnight getting a whole hoagie snack. You're as useless as tits on a snake. Your time is over and you know it. Ugla let out a yelp of pain. She was dying. That's the thing about parasites, though, isn't it? Axe said. The little ones tend to be the most deadly. She held out her stumpy arm and concentrated. Ah, ha, 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 the nice shrew laughed. You have no power here. Did you know mosquitoes are the deadliest animal to ever exist? Axe asked weirdly. They take a tiny amount of blood, but they alone are responsible for billions of deaths. It's the little ones that get you, she said as the green pulse shot from her eyes. It connected with the nice shrew's blue magics as a lightning display for the ages shot through the room. All around, fixtures and paintings flickered in and out of reality, back into rocks. The cave rumbled as Axe groaned and gritted her teeth. How? Screamed the nice shrew. Like a mosquito, I only needed a bit of your essence, she yelled. You done fucked up. No! Screamed the nice shrew as its essence now was being absorbed into the stump end of Axe's severed arm. After only a few seconds, it was over. The room was quiet. In place of a stumpy arm, was now a glowing green mage hand. Axewound curled her magical fingers into a fist and gripped the air as she held her new arm in front of her face. Finally, she said. Ugla was still frozen on the bed. Her body was cold and shivered uncontrollably. Her skin was ash gray and her eyes were lifeless, muted blue. Axewound slowly walked over to the helpless wizard. Well now, she said, twirling a strand of Ugla's beard in her new hand. Looks like you're the one who needs a hand now, Ugla whispered. Please, Axe. Axe, what are you doing? Squib pleaded. Don't do this! Quiet, skin tag, Axe yelled back at Squib. Axe, don't, Ugla cried. Axewound's eyes began to glow green again. As she knelt down over Ugla's face and stared at her right in the eyes, their noses nearly touching. This won't hurt a bit, Axe said, giving Ugla a single kiss on the lips. Axe, no! Screamed Ugla. Axe stood up as Squib rushed over to grab her leg. He was biting and wailing on it with his tiny mouth and fists, and he was crying. Then he saw it. Ugla sat up. Uggs? What? What? He stammered. Get off of me, taintfold, Axe said to Squib, kicking him off of her leg. Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to do all the work around here, Axe said nonchalantly. Plus, I wouldn't want any of your goody-goody magic infecting me with good deeds and liking the Goo Goo Dolls or Train or whatever. Thanks, Axe, Ugla said, putting her hand on her shoulder. Fuck off, Axe said. To be continued.
Yay!
What's gonna happen?
I don't know.
Probably some more impregnation of listeners' mums.
Probably.
Yep.
I will
And they're
say that there was prime real estate for some girl on girl to happen. Just then.
Prime
Maybe-
real estate.
Maybe if we get handcuffs again, that'll come in handy.
Perhaps we need some more suggestive prompts for Josh to keep going with this.
Bumping
Sexy
uglies.
prompts. Yeah, scissoring.
Scissors. Oh man,
Scissors and scissoring.
Squib is fast becoming one of my favourites.
I agree.
It's so
Yeah.
funny. He's such
He's
a
an
dingus.
idiot.
You know I love just a terrible little piece of shit. I'm
Yeah.
just a big fan.
I love when a character in a fantasy movie is completely useless.
Yeah.
I think that's the funniest shit.
Yeah.
Like the brownies from Willow. What the
Yeah.
fuck do they do? They don't do shit.
I always find that really funny as well, especially when everybody else in the crew has an extremely well-defined reason to be on it,
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
just some moron with them that does nothing.
Pippin.
Yeah, like Mary, Pippin.
Everyone else is
guess
super
Pippin,
powerful and they're throwing rocks at a cave troll.
Yeah,
It's pretty bad when Mary is what's your fucking problem, dude?
Yeah. You know you're bottom of the pile then.
It's you're fucked up at that point.
yeah. At a certain point, even Mary gets tired of Pippin's shit.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Pippin,
Touches
I was in
fucking all
Lost. What are you doing?
Dude fucking picks up the Palantir. What do you fucking do?
Yeah, he's stupid. Now he thinks you're Frodo, idiot.
Frodo.
Excellent story.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look, I just want Josh to know that I had to mute my microphone. I was laughing so hard a few times during that story.
That's good. I'm glad that me fucking your mother was.
Yeah.
I think that's when you did it.
Yeah, thank you.
It smelled like a YMCA's fucking
Oh,
pool.
Jesus. Yeah, I was laughing way too long.
You know exactly what I'm talking
I
about.
do. I was laughing
And
way
that's-
too long for that one and had to mute.
That's exactly what it smells like.
Lovely.
You know?
So
That bass smell.
Jesus.
we had
Let's read a good story.
we had a submission this week. We didn't ask for it, but we got it.
Okay.
So yesterday, I was complaining that I had to write my story, and Evan said to me, "I'll write a story for you," and I was like, "All right."
That's so fucking cute, dude.
Dude,
Alright.
this kid rules.
And then he wrote this story. I will read it verbatim.
Okay.
It's called "Cracker to the Rescue."
It's so good, dude. You're gonna love Cracker, is all I'm
The
saying.
colonial Evan. This is Evan's take on colonialism.
Once upon a time, there was a dog called Cracker. He was brave.
Fucking love him.
He was brave and liked to go into the woods on his own. On Mondays, Cracker's friend Pete came with him to chase him. I don't know why just on Mondays, but...
Only Mondays.
Just only Mondays. Pete got lost because he wasn't paying attention. Fucking Pete.
Idiot. What a
Piece of shit.
And in the third act...
Piece of shit.
In the third act twist, luckily Cracker is a rescue dog, so was able to help Pete home.
What a fucking Deus Ex Machina. Damn.
The end.
Holy shit.
Yo. How many pages do we take to get a narrative across? This kid
Yeah.
did it in a quarter of a
He
page.
did it in a paragraph.
Efficiency.
Luckily, Pete was a rescue dog. There you go.
Yeah. I was just astounded by it.
This is he's inspired by his friend at the beach, right?
Probably.
What's the dog's name?
Cracker.
Roger.
Roger.
The dog that, for anyone who... No, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know. I've only
No,
told
we didn't
you
talk
to.
about it.
And so Evan and I and Rachel go to the beach sometimes, and there is a dog there that is a owned dog from someone who lives by the beach, but he runs out on his own and brings his ball so that Evan can play with him, which is like the sweetest thing ever.
Fucking adorable.
Absolutely.
I said they should abduct Roger and take him home. That was shot down.
Not even abduct.
Yeah.
I said to Evan, do you think Pete didn't pay attention because he knew deep down that Cracker was a rescue dog? And Evan said to me, nah, Pete is just a jerk.
Damn. What the fuck?
I was like, okay.
Did he want Pete to get lost? Is Pete somebody we should be concerned about? Does he go to school with
I
Evan?
have no idea.
Damn.
But,
Pete's just a jerk, man. Well, we've learned a lot about Cracker and Pete in that single little paragraph story. Cracker, a hero, a rescue dog, apparently, we learn in the last sentence. Pete a jerk.
Yeah.
It's really a story about how love conquers hate. Love will always it'll save hate, even though hate's hate.
I said to him, Josh wants me to read this on the show, and he was like, can I do another one? And I was like, it's going to have to be fucking funnier than this one.
You're like giving him every complex that all of us have on this show.
I was like, there is there's a formula to it. You've got to put precisely the right amount of mum jokes in. You've got to
No more, no less.
You've got to make the audience laugh. You've got to tell a convincing narrative.
And he
so
did.
We'll see. We'll see.
First story out. He did all of that.
Nailed it.
So there you go. If you want to hear more of Evan's stories, I will do a full sidecast of Evan's stories if you up your patronage to a different level, whatever level.
To make up for the half a dozen patrons we've lost in this episode, please raise your patronage.
Look, if we all like to be smacked around a little bit, am I right?
I mean, they wouldn't be here if they weren't.
Am I right, guys?
Look, if you guys want a Cracker plush to be made,
it's like what's that? A Saint Bernard with a barrel round his neck.
Oh, like the whiskey barrel or whatever, the brandy. I was gonna say we should make Evan design the plush too, and I mean make him do it.
Make him do it.
Yeah. Do it. Draw it. And it's just the most ridiculous looking dog.
What we ought to do is just go to a Dollar General and buy up all of the plushes of one kind of a dog and just sell them for $30 each.
That's Cracker. Yeah, that's Cracker.
Genius.
This is what Cracker looks like, and every time we run out, we just buy a different one.
Yeah,
and they're not going to know the Cracker's
no.
different.
It's just generation one. It's like you can only get Cracker the first time, and then you got to get Pete, the idiot. And then whatever other character he comes up with.
It's like Beanie Babies. It's an investment.
True. We have Cracker, and then you have to get Pete, and then the third wave is Cracker, who's a rescue dog suddenly.
Right. He has a vest, an orange vest on.
So there you go. Not the worst story we've had this week. Anyway, we're going to close the cover on this week's stories, and... I'll reiterate, we're going to take a break next week, but the likelihood of us remembering to generate prompts next week is very low, because we won't be doing the same format of the show. So
we may as well do it.
I'm going to just do them now. So the first one is
Beep, boop, 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 beep, boop, boop.
Amnesia by Ace Wizard.
I'm not going to remember that one.
Seems like Pete isn't the only jerk.
You know?
And then the second one is...
What was the first one again? I forgot.
For God's sake.
It should be Amnesia and Amnesia. That's funny.
Shipwrecks by Travis Riley.
What the fuck?
Rex.
There you go. So, and then in the week that we take the break, I will put out another call for prompts. There's no limit on the amount of prompts you send in. Just, again, don't make them too one story specific. If you make it Merc Monks, we're not going to pick it.
Or like keep it something like general, like scissoring.
Yeah, exactly.
Scissors and scissoring.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
amnesia.
Yeah.
Man, wouldn't amnesia be a really good one if we got
It
it?
really would. Why have we never got it? So, in our week off, what we're going to do is I have this card game that Rachel bought, which is called A Little More Conversation, which asks really deep, meaningful questions. And we're just going to play it as if we three were a throuple.
If.
That's a big stretch.
But Rachel just springs these on me from time to time. She'll have a card in her hand.
This
and I'm
sounds
like,
terrifying. I do not like that.
I'm really excited about it, to
it's
be real
good.
with you.
It is good. It's
I
good.
mean, if my girlfriend was like busting out deep philosophical shit on me, I'd be like, I don't know.
It is actually
I don't know if
quite
this is
fun.
gonna work.
So I will ask questions, but I'll also answer. But yeah, it's just basically there's certain topics we can pick the topics we want to do. But I just thought it might be fun. It'll be like a pseudo afterlordsy type deal.
If you had amnesia, would you still love me?
Of course.
If I was an amnesia worm, would you still remember me?
Yeah.
A little more conversation. That's all I think of when I hear that.
If you want to suggest prompts and you want to get in on that part 2 of the season prompts call, then you need to head over to Storylords. Patreon.corey. Oh, for God's sake. Patreon.corey, I just said. Patreon.com/Storylords. And for as little as $5 a month, you can join the Discord. You can suggest prompts. You can read the stories that I've still got to send Jeff for the next 3 chapters.
You suck. I did it yesterday. You suck.
Moving swiftly on. For $10, you can get access to all the sidecasts we did. We did a recent one on the Matrix trilogy. Well, it was more the sequels, but it was the trilogy. And it was really fun.
We'll have to
it's
go back and do 4 at some point, because I watched it like the next day.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you did that.
I'm sorry.
to
Pinpoints of excellence in an otherwise bad film.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot going on. Like everything the Wachowskis do now, it's a very high concept.
Yeah.
It just drags so hard in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't land.
So for $10 a month, you can get that. We do another. So it's a podcast called Redesigned by Committee. We also do one called Afterlords, and we need to record the second part of Masters Pieces Theatre for M Class and Storylords. But for $15 a month, you get access to creator credit when the book comes out. You'll get a PDF of the book, and you'll get our eternal love. And if you want to be really cool, if you want to be a future super character in the book, then you need to join the bigger tiers like Henry Roselar, King of Patrons.
Who's now the most important character in Rich's story, bar none.
I mean, he has been for a long time. I'm just finally recognising it.
That's brilliant. This is so smart.
So, Storylords is now on YouTube. Once per week, all the past episodes are being uploaded by a good friend, John Anderson, who is a true mention. We love him.
Shout out John Anderson.
Johnny.
So if you've listened to the podcast before and want to go and re-listen to it again, I suggest you do it on YouTube, because you can like and comment and subscribe and do all those things that we hate YouTubers for. And if you want to find out anything else about Storylords, you can head over to storylords.page or storylords.card with 2 Rs.co. Do we have any reviews on iTunes?
No.
Right, so this is something that you can do. If you're a new listener, if you're a new patron, and you haven't reviewed us on iTunes, and you have access to the internet, then you can head over to iTunes and review the podcast. We're still at a 5, which is great. We'd like to just get more, because we read every one that is posted. And they're always great. They always make us laugh. And then I should really read the Patreon fans, shouldn't I? Because I've completely forgot.
Well,
to do
while
that.
you're like busting that out,
Perfect.
huge thank you to Vitizen for creating an entirely new soundtrack for the rest of season 3.
Hell yeah.
Absolute banger after banger after banger. And just to show you that he is going to be on an upcoming episode of the show, he created a theme tune for his own stories as well.
Well, we got to have him on now.
Yeah, and I will tell you guys, you two, when he's going to be on next, because we already talked about
the
it.
foot in the podcast door.
Yeah, Greg and I already decided when he's going to be on next. I just need to tell you guys about it.
Okay. It's fine. I don't care. You can come on whenever.
Yeah, I don't either. Whatever.
Big thanks to Greg. We love you, Greg.
Greg's the best.
We didn't ask...
Vitizen.card.co, by the way. If you card with 2 R's, if you want any information about Vitizen, anywhere you can find his music, check that shit out.
And I will say that we never asked Greg to do this. Greg is always doing this off his own back because he's such a nice guy.
I told him to stop doing it, honestly. I was like, can you stop?
He won't.
And he's like, yow! I was like, all right, man,
He was like, you're going to take these sick-ass tunes and you're going to fucking like them.
I don't know how he knows about my guilt about this.
That's why
I do feel guilty about it, but he keeps doing it, so.
He gets paid in our guilt.
He's a lovely dude. That's why he does it. So, the patrons. So, every week we read off the patron list from the top tier patrons. Big thanks to Henry Roselar, King of Patrons, and Technomancer. Squid Ludwig, Anthony Stoker. Squid Ludwig is still at the same tier as well. So, he's technically the co-king of patrons.
Yeah, like he's been at that tier for an exceptionally long time as well.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He was gonna only do it for Christmas, and now he has still done it. I don't want to point it out too much though, because he might reduce it. Anthony Stoker. No, I'm only joking, Squid. Take it down whenever you need to. Anthony Stoker, Federico Rodriguez, Granola Daniels, Heath Robinson, Jonathan Anderson, Pez King, Rena Kemp, Sean Tabor, Stephen. And that's it. And then let's look at the lifetime, and we will pick someone from the list. Big thank you to Groundman, who has been a Pen Pals supporter since November the 4th, 2022.
Yeah,
nice.
Big shout out to Groundman, my actual friend, who I've known for like 15 years or something at this point.
Jeff,
I love that
just
guy.
because you beat him in Mega Man doesn't mean he's your friend.
I'm also going to do another one because I'm pretty sure once I said Groundman, I've already thanked Groundman. I'm going to thank V, who's been a Pen Pals tier supporter since November the 14th, 2022.
Thanks, V.
Thanks, V, as well. And V supports basically every podcast all of us is on. So, big
November
thanks.
the 14th, Valentine's Day.
She's going to run with that.
I'm excited for this show to be over now.
Right, so next week, don't expect stories. We're going to do something different, and then we'll be back the episode after with the 7th part of this season's story. Okay? You can't answer. It's tough shit.
Yeah, okay, I got it. Thanks. Okay, boss. Whatever you say, Rich.
As always, thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us in whatever way you can. We love you for it. And, I don't know, keep watching the stars or whatever you want me to sign off with. Right, bye!
Bye, everybody.
Keep on fantasy and
Bye!
pros before pros. I don't know what the show is.